Hey, I'm Suzy, and welcome to 30 Minutes of Dance. Today's class is a dancer cross-training class where we'll focus on jazzy, stylized strength. Have water nearby, clear your space. I'll be using a yoga mat, a block, and a strap. You can always use a hand towel and a pillow instead of the block if you like. I'll be moving barefoot. You're welcome to join me, or athletic shoes, dance shoes, it all works. Let's begin. So as we start standing, coming to work parallel. Yeah, that's our jazz training, yes. And the idea really in using jazz to help with cross training is the sense of isolation. So as you're bending and straightening here, the sense of moving very subtle variations into some familiar poses or exercises. So bring your hands together and just beginning to keep that plie going. Yeah, just easy, hips width. And then stir the hands. So you come to a prayer shape, and then spiral. Nothing's forced, nothing pushed, just an easy circle of the wrists with that feedback and touch. Now, open the hands like a book and reverse. Oh, okay, back to the hands. You have to use your thinking cap a little today. Open like a book. Bring it in toward you. So a not so simple way to open the wrists. Now let's go forward with the fingertips and then back and open the book. Forward with the fingertips and then open the book back of the hand. Forward and out and then open and around. Got you thinking? Release, shake it off. Bring your feet slightly wider than your hips, and then plie, shoulder roll. Plie, straight up and down, shoulders. So one thing at a time as we begin. Thinking of how to slow down and move with precision, and pay attention to the details today. Now one more, and then let's switch the direction. Maybe it can be a little bigger, more to tempo. Shoulders coming back around. One more. Good, now lift your right shoulder and then your left shoulder. Notice if there's any tension in this as you go right and left. Notice as you lift one shoulder, maybe the opposite shoulder accommodates and moves downward, sensing how this affects the neck, the jaw, the rib cage, palms open, and a little deeper. Now taking it from the shoulder, moving down to the rib cage, one shoulder up, one shoulder down. So it starts to shift into a bit of a lean plie, side to side, but the shoulders are initiating it, the breath. Good, back to the center. Now open jazz hands, right hand and hip, and then left hand and hip. Stirring across the center. Now I have maybe a micro bend in the knees if that feels better to you. And notice, is the hand initiating or the hips? Either or. Maybe two together. It's even. Take it outside to side. Elbow pulling in towards the side body, towards the rib cage. Treading. Now, right arm and hip. Now reach up, point the right foot, and reach. Give me a little wave. And up. Just leaning out to the side, elbow in and reach. Elbow in. I'm testing the balance here. One more. Back to the center, elbow and hip. Point left reach and lean into it. Point and reach, elbow. And firming the elbow in to help cinch the waist and corset your energy there in the center. Now let's take the elbows out and then reach the arms up. Plie and reach. Plie. Stretch your jazz hands. You want to have lots of space between the fingertips. Good. Now let's alternate side to side. Now up to you if it's helpful to keep your toe in the sand there. If you want to pick the leg up, kick it out to the side. Woo, test your balance. Start to wake up the outer hips, side to side. Oh, I flexed that time. Maybe we flex. Point or flex. Oh, I was giving away my next trick, I think. Come back to the middle. Walk the feet in, roll the shoulders, tap out in front, shoulder rolls. Now, first position, jazz, parallel, 2 feet or 1. If you need, use support, a chair, a wall. Hands at the hips can be really helpful here. I'm going to turn just so you can see my angle a bit more. And then inhale, point your right foot straight out in front, flex the heel, and then point and flex and point, pulley up from your core, point. One more, step it in, demi-plie, left side point, ooh, and flex, it's harder than it looks, point and flex, point and flex, point, flex, bring it in, plie. Now adding on, point, flex and bend the standing leg, then point and straighten, flex and bend, point and straighten, flex and bend, one more, point, flex and bend, then step it in, stand tall. Left side, point, flex and bend the standing leg, pull up through your core, and then point. Feel that rebound pushing off the standing leg. Again, if you need something for balance. Good, one more. And back to the center. Now let's take the leg out to your right. Point and flex. Point and flex. So articulating through the foot, but you can feel this in the outer hip and the glute. Back to the center. Take it out to the left. Point and flex. Lift it a little higher. Point and flex. Point, still parallel. One more. Bring it back to the middle. Now let's add the plie. So right leg tendu out parallel. Flex and bend the standing leg. Feel the counterbalance there. And then point and flex and point and flex. Good, last one. Back to the middle, plie. Dig in other side. Here we go, left, point, flex. So the first one's slow just to get a feel for it. And then flex and point and flex and point. Elevator ride, yeah, for the standing leg. Back to the center, little shoulder roll. Now let's take it to the back. Again, use your wall, use your chair. First one, nice and slow, point. Find that bit of a diagonal shift you take forward. Make sure it's turned parallel. And then flex and see if you can lift the leg slightly higher. And then point and flex and point and flex. Lift the front rim of the pelvis. And pause in the middle. Second side. Left leg reaches back. Find that counterbalance. Flex and point, parallel, turn it in. Keep breathing. Back to the center. plie. So now adding that little plie on the standing leg. First one, slow. Cinch the waist, inhale. Tendu right leg parallel. Now you're gonna flex the foot and bend the standing leg. Now point and straighten, flex and bend. Point and straighten, flex and bend. Feel like you're cinching the waist, hug the inner thighs together, and back to the center, other side. Left tendu parallel. Flex and bend the standing leg. Try not to touch the floor if you can. And then point and flex and point. Keep the head on the spine, flex and point and flex and back to the middle. Right leg, ankle circles. Oh, lots of stability work there. Now ankle to knee, circling the hip. So circle the shoulders, circle. And then from here, step, transition, other side. Stir the left ankle. Your rhythm. Nothing's forced, nothing's pushed. Moving it into the knee, up into the hips. Woo, shoulders, everything's squirmy. That's a way to say thank you for all that standing balance work. Last thing here. Walk your legs out. Second position, maybe a little wider. Parallel, and then take your hands, if you can, to your rib cage. It's a little higher, yeah. You may feel like you need to roll the shoulders down the back, and then take your hands to your rib cage and just feel the ribs gently sway off center, and then back to center. Now, this can be a micro movement, but you'll feel it as shifting the weight to one foot, the other, maybe feeling it at the shoulders, the back of the neck. See if you might imagine interlacing the rib cage so you stay nice and connected here, and zipping up the low belly. Now plie, it's functional, right? It's not like real deep, it's just somewhere in the middle so that you feel loose and easy. And then start to take your rib cage slightly forward, slightly side to the back. So it has a belly dance feel. And as you take the hands to the rib cage, you may be able to feel like, oh, okay, I can slightly push the ribs back and side and forward and switch the direction. Use your hands to feel this maybe micro movement in the rib cage and the thoracic spine, the space between your ribs, helping to open up the lungs. Come back to center. Good, now take your hands to your chest, to your sternum, your breastbone, and then sense that you could take your chest slightly forward and slightly to the right, slightly back toward the spine and upward, and then to the left. So there's a sense of putting your heart out there, stirring at the heart, softening any rigidity across the heart, the chest, the collarbones, the jaw. And then easy does it, other direction. Maybe there's some smoothing out with the hands over the muscles of the chest wall, coming back to center. Now, take your hands to your hips. Turn your heels in slightly, toes out. Maybe a deeper plie. And now, the hips, give them a little pat. The hips are gonna go forward slightly to the side. Take it back and around. So full circle. And again, just the essence of the circle right here underneath is enough. If it feels good in your body to bend the knees more, wag the tail, wider circle, maybe even bending and straightening, shifting one foot to the other. Yeah, finding a way to work the core here and then switch the direction of your hip circles. Again, it can be really subtle, right? That's the jazz of it, that you can improvise, make it your own. And a subtle shift can echo through the whole body and become a dance. And come back to center. Now, let's take the arms forward, side, around. This Cabbage Patch-ish. So you're just gonna push out, around, and through. Now, other direction. Push out, around, bring it in, shifting, swaying. Sense the counterbalance, the hips and the ribs moving in opposite directions. Now take it up and around. It could be palms toward me, thumbs up, elbows bent slightly if that feels better to you. Even keeping the hands in the same height rather than overhead. What feels good to you? What's interesting? And switch the direction, woo, of your stirring. And it's moving from the hips to the ribs, into the chest, shoulders, and arms. One more big circle, and then release. Now, take your weight evenly to both feet, thumbs up. You're gonna reach out to your right. Somebody's pulling your arm, and then to your left. And maybe there's a wave through this, and a wave and a reach. So you can sense the rib cage pulling up and off of the pelvis. Lots of space in the low ribs, deep breaths. One more, and then shoulders. Hands to hips, heel toe the feet together. Good. Transition, let's go this way, towards the front of your mat, whatever that is. And near your props, as you inhale, roll the shoulders, and then bring the fingertips to your shoulders. Elbow circle. Now perhaps a whole arm circle. And then take the hands to the hips. Right ankle circle, ankle, knee, hip, putting it together. Plie, shift. Left ankle, knee, hip, plie. Roll the shoulders, fingertips to the shoulders. Big arm circle. Now take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, and start to sense this stirring. You can shift the weight foot to foot, and then switch the hands and switch the stirring. Slinky energy, and come back to the center. Shoulders, fingertips, big arm circle. Now take your hands to your thighs. Press the weight back like you're sitting toward a chair. Hands are on the thighs. Right leg bends, left leg bends, without locking the knees out, just side to side. Now, it's enough to keep the hands here. If you want to take one hand to the hip, other hand to the hip, even the low back, now it starts to feel jazzy as the opposite shoulder shifts forward. And you strike a pose here in between sides. Also feels really good, I hope, on your low back as you're shifting side to side. Now the next time you shift toward your right leg being bent, take a moment, pause, bend both knees, take your fingertips, you can use a chair or to the floor using the block even. Send your left leg back into a runner's lunge. Now, I'm gonna use the block underneath my hand so that I'm not leaning so far into this. Could even bring the block up to its highest level so I feel like my hips, my ribs, my heart, my head are all in the same line. Right, so the work of isolation is actually really cool in that it shows us how these parts can move independently, but then how they all can flow together toward the center and thread into a long, strong line. So here in this runner's lunge, we'll call it a dancer's lunge today, feel the stretch in the back leg, pad the back knee if you need, blanket, or you can fold the mat over, and then place your left palm on the block, jazz hands with the right arm, and then circle the right arm up and around 3 times. So opening up the upper back, mid back, low back. Once more. Now switch the direction like you're swimming here, you're sort of paddling it out and then forward. Try to plug the shoulder blades into the spine, around the back of the heart. One more, big breath. Good, now from here, plant your fingertips on the floor, on the chair, on a block, lift the back knee. So now it's a deeper lunge. And then you can use your hands on whatever support and then step to the top, sit back in a chair, and then we dance it off again. Right leg, left leg. Stay with it. I'm just gonna change sides so I can be with you in the other direction. So we're kind of walking it off here. Walk it all the way up. And then take the shoulder roll. And then the fingertips. And then the arms. And then right leg. Ankle, knee, hips. Shift to left leg, ankle, knee, hips. Come back to the center. Shoulders. Okay. Fingertips. Big arm circle. Okay. And then hands to the thighs again. It's the left, then the right. Up to you if you want to bring your hand into it. A bit more rotation. Pull the navel up towards the low belly, into the low back there. As you're shifting, navel sort of moves towards the back hand. That's the word I was looking for. And then come back to center. Next time your left leg is bent, pause there. Inhale. Square off, bend both knees. Use your chair, your block, whatever support you need to assist stepping the right leg back now into a runner's lunge. Now what's nice about this, again, is you're not collapsing under the weight of it all. You're finding the alignment, the hips, the belly, the ribs, the chest, the shoulders, everything kind of flowing into a long line of action. Using the block to come up slightly higher. Melt the shoulders down your back. If you like, you can place the right palm on your block. And then thumbs up, you're gonna circle. Big arm circle, but it starts with the breath. It starts in the rib cage. Stay connected at the low belly and then switch the direction of your circle, coming up and around. Keep breathing, up and over. Once more. Good, this time, walk the block slightly forward, come to your fingertips, and then step back. Rather than stepping forward, step back towards all fours. So, your choice. You can also use the block to support this, placing the block in the center of the mat, and then put your left hand on the block, your right hand comes to your heart, and then up to the sky. Hand to heart. The block, you can switch it up again here, and then left hand to heart, to the sky, pull the shoulders in, back to center. So the block brings it up a little higher as you go side to side, might feel good. If it feels better to you, or you're interested in going slightly lower, then working here. Hands from the heart to the earth, from the heart to the sky, back to center. Now, let's do this one more time, side to side. And then come back to the middle, pause here. Curl your toes under, sit your hips towards your heels any amount. I'm gonna slide the block forward, but again, if it feels better to kind of pull you up out of the floor some, use the block. And you may, actually I'll show it that way, yeah. So left hand comes to the block or the floor, right under your heart center. Now we're gonna transition, shift the weight to your left knee, your right leg is straight, your right arm, little jazz hand at the top, and then that same reach we did in the very beginning, pulling the elbow in, up and over, elbow in, and then come back through the center, fingertips down, palm to the floor. Notice the difference in your shoulders. Let's try the second side. So block kind of lifts you higher so you can shift the weight now. Turn the right toes out to parallel. Left arm's gonna reach to the sky. Shrug the shoulders down the back. Reach the arm up and then elbow in. Reaching up, and in. One more time. Come back to center. Take your palms down. Sit back and down. If you want, you could even bring the block, whatever height you need, underneath your hips, so there's less pressure on the knees. We don't want any pressure. No pressure. Inhale, roll the shoulders. Bring the fingertips to the shoulders. And then a big arm circle up and over. Take a deep breath in. We'll take this one more time. You can use the block under your hand again if you like, or set yourself so that the left hand comes directly under your chest, directly under your heart center. Now shift, left toes turn back, parallel. Right arm's gonna reach, bring the elbow in. Reach the arm up and over. Then your choice, you could flex the foot and lift, and then elbow and knee. While that flexing and pointing, flex, hey, it's coming together. One more. Well done. Bring yourself back down. All fours. If you need to lift the knees and kind of walk it off here. Nice way to exchange the weight. I'm gonna shift sides to be with you. And now take the right hand under your heart center. Shift the weight forward, draw the navel in. Left leg straightens, right toes turn back, parallel, reach up. Elbow in, jazz hands, plug the shoulders into your spine, and then reach the arm and the leg, perhaps, up to you, and then bend the knee and point the toes. Bend the knee, flex the foot, point the toes. Press into the top of the bottom leg, yeah? And then come back through center. Hands down, square off. Again, you can walk it out. Woo. Might even feel good to lie down. Yeah, let's try a little push-up. All the way down. It does feel good to lie down. Yes, come on down. Swing your legs side to side. Rest your head. Breathe in, breathe out. Good, now gently stretch the legs. Bring the arms in close. Pull your heart forward and press yourself back. Good, from here, so to rewind this, bring us back to standing. The left leg is gonna come forward. You're in the runner's lunge. Use the support as you need, and then push off, bend both legs. Dance break again here. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Sigh it out. And then from here, bend both knees. Find your strap on the way back up. Roll the shoulders. Come to stand. So, standing parallel, you could also use the block. This is a nice way to reset your low back, is to use the block between the inner thighs. Yeah, so I'm just sort of placing it between the inner thighs and then spiraling the thigh bones inward to wrap and gather and feel tall. So connected from your base, open up the strap. So this is our opening position really, where we were standing parallel for our jazz warm up. And now resetting from the work on the floor so that you can feel the feedback of the block helping you to zip everything up through the center. All these moving parts, all these isolated parts integrated now as you squeeze the inner thighs toward one another, and then thumbs up, reach the arms out to the sky. I'm holding on to the strap. If you don't have a strap, you can do what works for you. Yeah. Just easy side to side. The focus is on this block more so than anything else. Now take the block, keep the block, take the strap, thumbs up toward me, and then turn as far to your right as you can. Bend the knees, straighten. Turn as far to the left as you can. Bend the knees, straighten, right and left. So you find the muscles that create the rotation. Excellent. Back to the center. Now let's reach up. Side bend, center, rotate and bend, straighten, side bend, center, rotate, bend, center. Take the hands back down. Release the strap off to the side. Inhale, reach the arms out. Hands to the heart. Come back to that spiral of the wrists. Yep, and you can make this your own as you bring the fingertips in toward you. One more. So now we're saying thank you. We spent a little time on the hands, on the wrists. So now, what was once a warm-up is now a release for the wrists. Now reach up with your right hand, hold onto your right forearm, give it a squeeze. Now this could be across the body if that feels better to you. It can be up on the diagonal, it can be all the way over. Plug the shoulders in and down, use the top arm to traction, and then shrug the shoulders, look down over your outer right thigh. Bend the knees, little demi-plie, and then squeeze the block, come back to center. Release the arms. Other side. So you're gonna hold onto the wrists, the forearm, give it some love. Again, it could be right in front, pulling slightly across. Up on the diagonal, arms slightly bent. Or big reach, holding onto the hand to create some space between the wrists. Hug the block, reach up and over, look down over the opposite shoulder, the opposite leg there. And then bend the knees and come back to the center. Release the arms. Excellent. Take the hands to the hips. So this sort of integration, squeezing the block as we root down to rise up, parallel releve, and then lower back down. Hands on the hips to help firm the outer hips in, squeeze the block, steady your gaze, and then back down. Again, rise. Feel like you're pushing the heels down even though they're coming up. And release. So we find the opposition, right? The isolation is part of the opposition. We thread down to rise up. And then release. Reach the arms out. Take your hands to the block. Plie. And notice there's still energy moving. Maybe you feel more connected, like everything's sort of spiraling into the center. And all of these separate parts can come back and make you feel connected. All parts of the whole, centered, integrated. Feeling lighter. Inhale, roll the shoulders. The fingertips. Ooh, big arm circle. Okay, up and around. Reach to the left. Reach to the right. Tread it out. Now let's take a bow. So step left, right leg comes behind. Give me a little jazzy moment. And a pose. Back to the center. Other side. Jazzy moment. Back to the middle. Thank you. I'm Suzy. I had so much fun moving with you today. I hope that you come back to this and